As Bitcoin continues to climb up, there are now officially more longs in the market than shorts. In today's video, we'll be addressing exactly this. We'll be going over the recent Bitcoin price action, and I'll also be giving you an update on the short that I talked about in yesterday's video. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Let's jump right into the video. Let's get right into the meat of the video, taking a look directly at Bitcoin. So in yesterday's video, we talked about entering a potential short right around this level. The reason being 106.2K is a very important level for Bitcoin, and it looked like we were struggling at that level. Also, there was a little bit of liquidity above that level, which we tapped into and we'll talk about in today's video, and we were starting to see that the longs were catching up to the shorts on the liquidation heat map. So I went ahead and entered a short, slowly scaling in as the price of Bitcoin continues to increase. And if you're in my community, you know exactly what this trade is. So the point here is you slowly start adding to your short as Bitcoin goes up so you get a better entry position. Now, I personally don't think that we will be seeing Bitcoin break out of this parallel channel. So my stop loss is actually above the channel. Now, I told you in yesterday's video and within my community that I'd be willing to punt this level because it is a very important level for Bitcoin. And right now we can see that we continue to trickle on up, and I kept on adding to my short position. A lot of you were saying, man, you shouldn't short and you're gonna regret this. We're gonna break out. We're gonna hit a new all-time high. But as I said, with proper risk management, it was totally worth the trade. And right now I am still in this position waiting for it to potentially break out. Now, I will say, if we start to get daily closes above this level and we hold 106.2K as support on multiple daily closes, at that point, I would likely consider cutting the trade. And of course, if you're in my community, you know this already. I've been updating you throughout the course of the day. So if we go on these shorter time frames here, the next area of resistance is actually this 4-hour wick, which we just established. Now, this actually looked like we were going to just roll over, and we have seen several times what happens with Bitcoin is that we will go ahead and form a nasty wick like this, only to move on higher, trickle up, flirt with the top of this wick. Maybe we get right above it ever so slightly, and then we come back down. That is currently my base case for this current trade that I am in. And I, of course, will keep you updated on that. Just because the trade is in unrealized loss right now, it doesn't mean that I will go ahead and just completely ignore it. I talked about a short, and we will address that short on the channel. So what happens if this trade doesn't play out? Well, the next levels I'd be looking at would be, of course, the top of this range to act as resistance. But if we break out of this range, we do know that right around the 110.5K is a very crucial level. So if we were to break out, in my opinion, I still think at this point, it would likely be a wick targeting this level only to get a massive rejection back into the range because the summer chop is still my thesis. I actually got a comment that I read in my community today that basically said, did you advise your community to short Bitcoin? Bitcoin is going up. I'm unsubscribing. Well, go ahead and unsubscribe. We've had tons of profitable trades, and if you can't handle a trade potentially going wrong, then maybe you shouldn't be watching this kind of content in the first place, because it tells me that you're way too emotional. Whenever I enter trades, I only risk an absolute maximum of 5% of my portfolio, and even that is considered aggressive. Typically, the recommendation is between 1 and 3%. And in this trade in particular, I risked 1% when I entered, and then I risked an additional 2% as Bitcoin continued to climb on higher. So if this trade doesn't work out, no worries, we move on to the next. Trading is all about probabilities. And if you think that every single trade will play out to perfection, then unfortunately you're going to have to learn the hard way. Now, I also asked in my community today if you wanted to see a video of me starting my trading journey and exactly what happened, the lessons I learned, and everything in between. And a lot of you gave some positive feedback on that, so I will likely be filming a video like this in the very near future. So stay tuned for that. But anyways, what I was getting at, don't be too emotional when it comes to trades. What happens is people watch a video and they say, I like what this guy has to say. I'm going to go max short. They use their entire portfolio or 50% of their portfolio. And then if that one trade doesn't work out, they're completely wiped out of the market. Don't make that foolish mistake. If you know me and you've been watching the channel, you do know that I hold a majority spot position in Bitcoin because I still think that Bitcoin is this gold of the 21st century and it has continued to outperform the rest of the market. And on the side there, I do have a trading account which is allocated only for trading. So that's what I always recommend. Have your spot portfolio and then have your trading account. And make sure that if you're new to trading, you aren't going all in because I know that some of you have been freaking out about this most recent trade. Now, if we take a look at Ethereum against Bitcoin, I want to talk about this because it's very clear that we're getting rejected at the bull market support band still on the weekly time frame. But most importantly, I thought this was interesting. I read a comment yesterday of someone asking for me to cover Bitcoin dominance. Never thought I would see that because people seem to hate when I talk about Bitcoin dominance. But anyways, what we can see here is that it's the same typical pattern that we've seen over the past couple weeks. We start off the week red and then it slowly rises up and now we leave a long wick to the downside. And you can see here that on the weekly chart, this candle is about to turn green and Bitcoin dominance is likely about to continue into this range. So for some of you that have been asking whether or not I'm investing in altcoins now, no is your answer, and I will make sure to keep you updated exactly when I start investing in altcoins. Of course, if you want to know which altcoins I'm investing in before I publish it on my YouTube channel, go ahead and join my community, which is the first link in my description down below. Now, back to Bitcoin dominance. This will likely continue to go up, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we make our way into this range and we find our way potentially as high as 70%. Now, this is a pretty big range between 65% all the way up to just below 74%. But ultimately, I have no doubt in my mind that we will at least find our way in this range. I don't know exactly when we will top out. No one has a crystal ball, but I still think that there is some upside for Bitcoin dominance. And also, I think we should be talking about USDT dominance while we're at it, because we can see that we got a little bit of a pump here, and this actually coincided with that most recent 98K bottom, which we longed in my community. And now we're seeing that this is starting to crawl back down, potentially targeting this trend line, but we are still flirting with the bull market support band of USDT dominance. So we know the drill with USDT dominance. If this goes down, then of course, Bitcoin and the crypto market can perform well. And if this goes up, then it likely trends towards a local top, as we've seen several times before. Now, I still think that over this summer, we will be chopping around. That is still my base case. And right now, it's only a matter of time to see whether or not this most recent Bitcoin short that I'm in will play out. And zooming out on the weekly chart, if we take a look at Bitcoin, we can see that we're still very much within this range. And we are above the important level right around 106.2K. If we get confirmation back below this level, at that point, I still think that the short is well and truly underway. Now, back to the liquidation map, because we officially have more longs in the market than shorts. Around the time where Bitcoin was below $100,000 and we went long, we had way more shorts in the market. We're talking 8 times more shorts, as I discussed in my previous videos. Right now, as you can see on this chart, it is indeed even, but if we go to the specific number here, there is $8.39 billion worth of cumulative long liquidation leverage. And on the other side, there is $8.38 billion worth of cumulative short liquidation leverage. So finally, the longs have caught up. And of course, this is what I was talking about on the channel. Whenever Bitcoin starts to get a couple of green candles, whether you want to look at the 4-hour time frame, the 12-hour time frame, or the daily time frame, we know the drill. People pile into longs, and it didn't take long for the longs to catch up to the shorts. So let's see how this plays out. Will Bitcoin roll over here? Will we get rejected at the top of this range? Or will we break back above this range and Bitcoin will explode to a new all-time high, as so many people seem to be calling for? I don't think that this is the case. I think we are now well and truly within the summer range. Now, we will get some deviations below this range, of course, as I'm expecting, but let's see. Is it going to be a situation like over here on June 19th, where we went ahead and formed a wick and then came lower to the 100K level? Or are we going to make it to the top here right at this range? And before I wrap up this very quick video, Trump came out and again started shit talking Jerome Powell. He essentially said today that Jerome Powell is a very stupid person as he continues to start to look for a new Fed chairman. Now, also, Jerome Powell came out today and said that the crypto stablecoin industry has matured and became more mainstream. Now, we know this already, but it's nice to get that stamp of approval from the current Fed chairman. And we do have some news regarding the crypto industry, and that is that a White House official said that the US government does indeed have some sort of accumulation plan for Bitcoin. They were hinting at it, and let's see. If they go ahead and announce, hey, we're going to be buying 1 million Bitcoin, then at that point, I do think that the market could see a little bit of a short-term pump here. Of course, it's not confirmed yet, but let's roll the clip.
Those are top of mind for everybody, working on digital assets in the White House. There will be the forthcoming report on the interagency activities. We've already taken some steps with the SPR. How do we follow that up with the accumulation plan? So there's no shortage of opportunities and things to do. So after we leave here, I'll get right back to it.
So let's see, are we going to get that strategic Bitcoin reserve where they actually start accumulating Bitcoin, or is this still a bunch of nonsense? I personally think that down the line they will be accumulating Bitcoin, but this is a very, very long process for a government to go ahead and do that. And they will likely be competing with us near the bear market lows, so keep that in mind. And it seems like the developments in terms of the war have slowly eased off since the ceasefire. Iran has partially reopened its airspace, and things are starting to look on the up and up. And that sums up today's video. Bitcoin continues to grind up and liquidates a lot of those late shorts. Meanwhile, I keep on slowly adding to my short position with my stop loss above $109,000. If you have proper risk management, these kinds of positions are no issue for you. The problems arrive when you start to go all in into any given position. And of course, in my community, I'm always managing my risk appropriately, and I'm sharing my risk management tips with you. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.